And this is one of the best new family SUVs out there. The Kia Sportage, something of a game changer for the once fledgling Korean brand. They have sold hundreds of thousands of the things, and rightly so, and now got a new one. And to say that we are intrigued, I think might be an understatement, because this is the sister model of our current Carbuyer Car of the Year, the Hyundai Tucson no less. So is this good enough to take the crown from the Tucson? Well, wait no longer. Hit it! The Kia Sportage is now in its 5th generation. Substantial improvements with every new model has seen the family SUV rise through the ranks. It now not only rivals mainstream SUVs like the Ford Kuga and the Nissan Qashqai, but challenges premium alternatives like the BMW X1 and Mercedes GLA. And if the fresh looks don't steal your heart, there are loads of engines and trims to choose from, plus enough interior tech to turn the heads of even the biggest badge snobs. First things first, it's totally different to its predecessor, right? So Kia call this the Opposites United philosophy, and it's a proper striking design. I mean, it's got flashes of its electric flagship, the EV6, especially here at the back. I mean, whether you like it or not, that's down to you, but just take a second, just soak it all up. It's not the kind of car that you're going to mistake for any other car in its class. I quite like it. If you ask me, I think this is where the magic's happened. I mean, it's not like there was anything wrong with the old Sportage, but in here it feels like there has been a monumental step change. It actually makes the Volkswagen Tiguan look quite boring inside, because now we've got this lovely screen that sits nice and high up on the centre console. Now on higher spec trims like this one, it's accompanied by a very nice 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster. Now these two screens are joined together by a long black bank, which is taken from the EV6. Oh, I think it just looks so nice. It looks really proper nice. And the fact that it's taken from the EV6 means it is packed full of tech. This screen is quick to load, it's super responsive, it's easy to use. Pinch-up graphics, absolutely stunning. Now, they have managed to avoid putting the climate controls within the touchscreen, but it's not perfect. Instead, they've put it down here, look. Ta-da! It's on a touch-sensitive bar, but I do like the fact that you can change the temperature via a twisty knob. Yay! It means that you can actually change the temperature without looking. Amazing! Now look, it is worth noting that not all versions of the Sportage come with this setup. So if you go for the most basic version, then you just get a smaller screen here and you get analog dials, but you still get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So if that's all you want, or that's all you can afford, then it's no biggie. But if you can, take a couple of steps up the ladder, and we would recommend that you would if you could. I mean, it's going to cost you an extra £4,000, but if you spread that over a 3-year lease or PCP, then you're not really going to notice it monthly. You get these screens as standard, and the sense of occasion and the quality is multiplied by 10. I mean, speaking of the quality, if you just cover up this badge, you could be sat in an Audi. I mean, I know you're going to be sat in a Kia because you've bought the Kia, but you know what I mean. Oddly, the trim lineup at the time of filming goes 2, then GT line, then back to 3 and 4, and finally the GT line S, like what we've got here. Why Kia chose to do things this way is, well, baffling. But if it was us, we would step up to the mid-spec 3 model. In addition to those twin screens, you get heated seats, heated steering wheel, keyless entry, and loads of safety tech. And that's on top of the 2 and GT lines, LED lights, alloy wheels and the like. Full specs can be found at carbuyer.co.uk. Just use the drop-down menus to search for Kia Sportage. Now allow me to show you the boot. Now, despite the fact that this car is actually a little bit longer than the Hyundai Tucson, because remember, fundamentally underneath, they're pretty much the same, the boot is actually a little bit smaller, but it's still a nice big space. So if I'm honest, you're not going to feel that hard done by. But for comparison reasons, here are the numbers: 587 litres compared to the Tucson's 620. You're not really going to miss those 33 litres, are you, when it's such a nice, wide, accessible, open space. Oh, rear seats fold down with a little lever. Boom. boom, and look at this. A nice flat space. There isn't a lip to load things over the top. I like that very much. Nice and practical, Kia, thank you. But they have done something quite strange, right? When you fold down the seats, you've got 1,780 litres of space, which is actually 19 litres less than the Tucson. When the seats are up, it's 33 litres less than the Tucson. It's just like, it's witchcraft. But if there was little to separate the two in the boot department, we'd be splitting hairs to compare the Kia and the Hyundai back here. Suffice to say, there's room for two 6-foot adults to sit comfortably, and there's the usual Isofix points on the outer seats. Furthermore, Kia has taken a leaf out of Skoda's Simply Clever instruction manual, installing handy features like these hangers on the headrests and extra USB ports on the seat backs. It's the small things that make life that little bit easier, innit? Now, I could start this part of the review by telling you that the Kia Sportage isn't the most fun to drive, and the fact is, it's not. I mean, the Mazda CX-5 is a lot sharper than this, but then if you go for that, then you're going to have to deal with their very breathless, very lethargic petrol engines or one of their grumbly diesels. Horses for courses and all that. I'd say the Ford Kuga is probably a better all-round driver's car. But most people are going to be perfectly happy with this Kia Sportage. I mean, the steering, that's very nice and sharp. There's very little body roll. That's largely thanks to the suspension being ever so slightly firmer, which means it does tend to crash into potholes every now and again, especially on these bigger wheels. But apart from that, it's pretty comfortable most of the time. This is the kind of car that rewards a relaxed approach, especially in this hybrid model, because when you're driving it around town, it is so quiet, and it will do short periods on just electric power alone. Actually, if you're going to use this car for just going around town and doing short journeys, you're going to be quite surprised by how economical this can be. But it can get a little bit noisy when you try and pick up the speed, especially when you put your foot down, which is a shame, really. Because this isn't exactly a slow car. 0 to 62 takes 7.7 seconds, which 10 years ago, that was hot hatch speeds, sports car speeds, but now you've got that in a family SUV. But all of that commotion fades away. Once you reach your speed, it's a really nice, refined drive when you're on the motorway. And actually, if you are like everybody else and you listen to the radio while you're driving, you're hardly going to notice the road or the wind noise at all. All things considered, we reckon this hybrid is the pick of the range. There are petrols, diesels, and for the first time a plug-in model, while that will be out of interest to company car drivers thanks to its 40-odd mile electric range and low CO2 emissions. The cheaper conventional hybrid may prove more economical in day-to-day driving, especially if you've got no intention of plugging it in. Kia quotes 48.7 miles per gallon and CO2 emissions of 132 grams per kilometre for this non-plug-in hybrid. Those would have been diesel numbers a decade ago. There's no pure electric Sportage. Kia will push you in the direction of the forthcoming Niro EV or EV6, should you want one of those. Finally, it is worth remembering that every new Kia comes with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty for ultimate peace of mind. And that, my friends, would be a deal maker. Oh, is that what you've been waiting for? Deal makers and deal breakers? Oh, all right, let's do it. Not every model gets the beautiful twin screens. If you can, we'd step up. They elevate the cabin from a good one to a great one. The tech is slick too. Even the petrol shouldn't cost an arm or a leg to run, but the hybrid should slash your fuel bills significantly. The Hyundai Tucson, on paper at least, is ever so slightly bigger than the Sportage, but you're not going to really notice that on a daily basis. This is still a very practical car. Now, it seems a little bit unfair to jot this down as a deal breaker. Ultimately, most will be very, very happy with the way that the Sportage drives. Yet, it's neither the sharpest nor the most comfortable car in its class. Depending on what you want, there are rivals that do it better. So, does the new Kia Sportage have what it takes to beat the Hyundai Tucson at our next Carbuyer Best Car Awards? It is close. And this is one of the best new family SUVs out there. Oh, it does have the edge when it comes to the interior, because that is so nice. But the Tucson drives better. If only there was a way to get them both side by side, and then we can really test them properly. Oh! maybe something coming soon.
If you enjoyed this video, then you can watch our Hyundai Tucson review, as well as our family cars playlist. Thanks for watching.